Hello and welcome to Spinster's Library. I'm Claudia and this is already the 23rd episode in my Bookish Favourites Advent Calendar series. Only one more to go. Today I want to talk about a classic that I feel like I keep banging on about, but I'm sorry, it has to feature in this series, and that is Dodie Smith's I Capture the Castle. This book was published in 1948, but it is set in the 1930s and it is a diary-style epistolary novel. So the whole novel is the diary of a 17-year-old girl named Cassandra. And Cassandra is the second sister in a rather eccentric family. Her father is an author who is trying to recreate the success of his first novel, but is suffering severely from writer's block. Her stepmother is a bohemian artist type who definitely has her head in the clouds, and her older sister, like Cassandra herself, are suffering slightly from living in these slightly strange circumstances. Now, the strangest thing about the circumstances is their home, because they live in a castle ruin. And while that seems very romantic to the rest of the world, Cassandra's had enough of living in a freezing cold tower room and not having enough hot water to even take a bath in. So she writes this diary partly as a way of capturing her life in this very strange family, and partly as a type of escapism to get away from it all a bit. Now, she is an absolutely hilarious diarist, and I loved exploring her family through her eyes. The observations are just so hilariously on point that even if you've never been a teenager living in a castle in the 1930s, you can weirdly identify quite a lot with her as a main character. Cassandra and her family's lives get turned upside down as a wealthy American family consisting of two brothers moves into the neighborhood and starts socializing with them. Now, maybe at this point, the summary of this story reminds you a lot of a Jane Austen novel. You know, maybe a mix of Pride and Prejudice and Sense and Sensibility with a bit of Northanger Abbey thrown in. And Cassandra herself is quite aware of those parallels. And in her journal, she kind of fantasizes about how her life would play out if she was in a Jane Austen novel. The book is hilariously self-aware, and I really enjoyed that about it. I really enjoyed all of the characters, from Cassandra herself to her old cat, to the stepmother, to the village librarian. There's so many really fun characters in there. And the book itself is just overflowing with warmth, with heart, with compassion. It's a really lovely read. It's a read that I would actually recommend you maybe hold off on until the spring. I think March, late March, is a beautiful time to start reading this book. It is romantic, it is comedic, it's dramatic. There's a bit of a twist at the end, which, by the way, if you've read the book, you know the ending. I'm not too keen on that ending, but I don't think it ruins the rest of the book. It's got a sense of nostalgia about it, but at the same time, it's real and dark when it needs to be. And it doesn't romanticize poverty. It doesn't romanticize struggle. It's just a beautiful story. It's absolutely magical, and I would highly recommend that you read it. It's also, interestingly, for me, I read it as an example for young adult contemporary fiction before young adult contemporary fiction was a thing. Because Cassandra is a teenager, again, before the concept of teenagers was really established. And it's a beautiful insight into what being a young woman must have been like several decades ago. That's it for today. Tomorrow is the last video of this series. So for the last time, I say see you tomorrow and thank you for watching. Bye.